This poem is called Baseline. I got stoned at the bar last night. Tim Leary is dead, and I don't give a fuck. 3 in the morning, and a good reading of Howl is all I need. People stare wide-eyed with their mouths shut as I pine over this writing on an old cocktail table that was in fashion back in '63. The average person is 15% logical, 12% hysterical, 20% heterosexual, 35% homophobic or homosexual, whichever you want, and the other 18% is pure bullshit. The car pulls into a Texaco at 11 o'clock in the evening, pumping gas. Wicked satanic airplanes fly overhead with all of my enemies, Gingrich, Republicans, Satan, Hitler, and my 6th grade principal. My hair is a battle, once flowing and wavy like that of Jim Morrison. It has now been cut and controlled like that of James Dean. I sit here tonight at 11:47, staring at a photo of Ginsburg and Burroughs at the DNC 68, and I wonder, what next? Holy shit.
Last night, I packed my bags and I headed for the...
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 10 of Sleeping with Matt Freed. I'm Matt Freed, and that was extremely embarrassing. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, I always say in all the different episodes that, we have a very good friend, a very special guest, but on this particular episode, it is a very special guest and a very good friend. This is a guy that I've known for about 12 years. His name is Jim Campolongo. We went to high school together, and Jim is a writer for a little TV show you may have heard called White Collar. Before I get all Lifetime movie or anything, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let the interview speak for itself. This is Jimmy Campolongo. It's Sleeping In with Matt Freed. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, kids, yes, I still own the album. Are you back in Haddonfield right now?
I am. I'm actually sitting in my old bedroom in Haddonfield, believe it or not. I'm just here for the weekend. I'm on vacation for, well, actually going home is never a vacation. It's a little bit of work too, but I'm on hiatus from the show, and so I'm taking a little time off to come back to the East Coast, see some friends and family, and get a cup of coffee at Three Beans and maybe a drink at Pat's Pub, both of which were hometown hangouts that no longer exist, which make me very, very sad.
I know. It's weird. When was the last time I was back home? I want to say it was earlier, but for some reason I keep thinking it was Christmas. I was back home around Christmas or thereabouts, and I stuck my head inside what used to be Three Beans, and I was talking to a barista there. And he was like, yeah, this coffee house used to be another place, and they used to have bands here, and there used to be an open mic night, and I was almost kind of yeah, I know, I was part of the crowd of kids.
I lived it. We lived it, man.
Lived it, man.
I don't know if that means we're experienced and learned, or if we're just plain getting fucking old, but a little bit of both.
The third season of White Collar goes up in January, correct? Or is it
the latter half of the second season will air in January? What USA Network does is we did 16 episodes, and they like to split their seasons in half. So there's the summer season and then the winter season. And so our winter season of season 2 is coming up in late January. You know, it's very rare, and I've had a lot of jobs in Hollywood, but it's very rare for me to do something where you're legitimately proud of the show or the thing that you're working on. And yes, I want people to watch White Collar, so I'm employed, but I want them to watch it because it's actually a show that I think I would watch and gets me genuinely excited. And
what was it like when you first got hired on White Collar? You guys were writing the first couple episodes. You're getting ready for season 1. What was the feel in the writer's room?
There's definitely an anxiety that develops. The first couple weeks I'm in the writer's room, and then, the first couple weeks of production, everyone, is just so grateful and so happy to be there. It's like, holy shit, I'm working. I finally have a job, or yes, I've got my next gig, and it's all wine and roses for the first month. And then when you actually get into the making of it or the writing of it, you say, you start going, I don't even know if people are going to like this. I hope they do. And from that point on, it's beyond your control. You just got to give it your best shot and overcome that anxiety. But when we had to start coming up with new ideas, we were, a couple of us were like, man, we just did 14 of these. How are we going to do 16 more? And then, eventually you realize you can't. Like, there's just you'll never, ever, ever run out of stories. Like, I don't think there's any such thing as writer's block. You just try and write something, or you form an idea. You take any nugget of an idea you have, and you work on it until it becomes good, or it becomes, greenlit by the studio or the network.
You guys are stationed out in LA. The show shoots here in New York. What kind of do you guys have any kind of personal rapport with the cast?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The first season was very tough because the writers did not go out there, did not go out to New York to be on set when the episodes were filming. And so, not only is the time difference a little crazy because we're still sleeping when they get up, when the crew and the cast gets up at 6 a.m. to start shooting for the day. But you work around it, and we do have a great EP on set who is was sort of our go-between between the coasts. And I swear to God, this guy like never slept, and he was invaluable. And so to make his life a little easier, and especially our lives a little easier, and to enhance the quality of the show, this season, the second season, we started sending out writers to the set for the duration of production on his or her episode, which was really great because if the cast or the director or anyone on the crew had a question about the story, we were immediately there to answer it. And that, I think, made things go a little bit smoother. I think it made things go a lot smoother, and it was certainly a learning experience for us as writers on the staff because we got to see what the cast and crew were going through every single day, and what we got to learn practical things like, God, don't ever write elevator scenes because there are only so many camera angles you can do in an elevator, or be careful in terms of how many night scenes you put in the script because the crew has to sleep. And
what did you when you were working towards landing this job writing for White Collar, like what were some exercises or some things that you did that kept you on the grind and kept you going as a writer?
Well, once I realized that, I actually started getting a little older, and I was out of college, and I really had to start. If I was serious about working in the film or television industry, I had to stop being lackadaisical and laid back, and actually hit the grindstone and start writing stuff. Mm-hmm. And the scariest thing was that you got to accept the fact that the first stuff you're going to write, whether it's a blog, whether it's an essay, or whether it's a script or a spec, it's going to suck. It's going to be absolutely terrible. And it's going to be terrible probably for the...
Nobody's going to want to read my screenplay about Salvador Dali traveling back to the future with Marty McFly?
Well, I feel like the people who truly want to write are actually in that first outing kind of afraid, because you say to yourself, what if it isn't any good? What if it isn't any good? And the answer to that is, well, you're going to write more stuff eventually, and it's going to get better eventually. Like, you just have to be able to accept the fact that it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, no matter how good you are. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have to learn to take constructive criticism. And, as that knowledge, as you accrue that knowledge, you begin to feel a little more comfortable sitting at the keypad or at your legal pad or whatever it is you write on. Mm-hmm. Like for example, the first spec script I ever tried writing, which was a really, really terrible My Name is Earl spec. That took me probably about 4 months to write. And that was just the first draft, because I kept starting it and stopping and saying, oh God, what if I get there and it isn't good? What if I just get to the end and it sucks and I look back and I read on it? But I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And you know what? It did suck, but it felt good that I got something done. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do another pass on it. And I did another pass on it, and that was a little easier. And then I said, okay, let me try another show. So I tried writing a S.H.I.E.L.D. spec. And that, took me, whereas the first one took me about 3 to 4 months, this one took me about a month, like just from like breaking the story to writing the first draft.
How long of a turnaround period did it take from making the decisions like this is what I want to do to hi White Collar, we're White Collar on USA Network, you're hired? Like, how long did that take?
Well, For me, it took about 3 years. It took a little time. I mean, but it's different for everyone. The overnight success thing does happen, but it's so rare. It's such an anomaly. And going back to just one thing I was saying earlier about you want to write when you're a little scared to do it, but you push yourself to do it. Mm-hmm. I found that the people who claim to be writers but really aren't are the ones who write something, finish it, and then say, look, here it is. Here's my great, brilliant script. Why are you not making it? Or why are you not doing anything with it? Why didn't you like it? It's just that sort of unwillingness to and stubbornness to not learn and strive for more. It means you probably don't want to be a writer. It means you're probably just giving it this one half-assed try and then not doing it.
Mm-hmm. You've been working on this great show now for going on the last 3 years. Do you have anything else that's sort of in the incubator right now that you're working on? Because I imagine you have representation, and with the success of the show, people have to be asking out there all the time what else you're working on. Can you disclose that here?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can tell you, like, I'm just, I gotta say, like, it's nice. White Collar has sort of taken up the last year and a half of my life, and it's pretty much the best thing that's ever happened to me. I couldn't be more grateful for this to be my first writing gig and have, to get to work with such talented writers and such talented creator, Jeff Easton, to learn from. The past year and a half has been really, really wonderful. It's also been very exhausting because, we do really try to live and breathe these characters 24/7 when we're creating stories and writing our episodes. So I finally have a little bit of a hiatus, and I'm going to try and work on some original material, which is fun, like maybe a pilot. I've got a feature idea brewing, and again, it's just, even though I'm a quote-unquote professional writer, it's very, very important to me that I keep writing and keep trying to learn, keep honing, the craft, and try and, get something out there that, kind of has my voice, a little bit more of my voice in it. And if I can do that, I'll feel even more accomplished. So I just want to keep growing and learning and working on new material. I mean, I just think that's what any good writer should be doing, is constantly working to improve and produce. So I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. I'm a bit of I love every medium in the storytelling genre, like whether it's a play, a film, a TV show, a documentary. It's all gravy to me as long as it's a good story well told. So if I can strike some success in any one of those formats, I will be more than happy.
Once upon a time, I knew a girl.
Well, folks, that just about does it for episode 10 of Sleeping In with Matt Freed. Very special thanks to my good friend and our guest, Mr. Jim Campolongo. This will be the last of original episodes of Sleeping In with Matt Freed for about a month. In March 2011, we'll be back with brand new interviews, a whole new slew of stuff for you to download and enjoy. But for the moment, we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus off for the month of February, and we will be back sooner than you can believe. Now, in the meantime, we're not going to stop releasing stuff because we've got a ton of outtakes and bonus footage and all other kind of stuff from our previous interviews from the fall of 2010 that we still want to share with you. So do keep your eyes out for that. Get on the mailing list. There is a mailing list. It's a mailing list. Check us out online at www.sleepinpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at @sleepinpodcast. And also, the iTunes feed. If you're not downloading us and putting us on your iPhones, please do it. We very, very desperately need to justify having an iTunes feed. Anyway, folks, I'm Matt Freed. We'll see you back here in a month. In the meantime, stay warm. I predict the Packers-Jets Super Bowl. And, always shoot for the stars. Anyway, folks, I'm Matt Freed. Later.